Thank you.
Senator Banks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hyde, I'm very concerned about reports that the China-controlled AI company DeepSeek accessed advanced NVIDIA chips through third countries despite stringent U.S. export controls aimed at limiting Communist China's access to cutting-edge semiconductor technology. How did DeepSeek bypass U.S. export controls using supposed allies like Malaysia and Singapore?
Yeah, Senator. Well, thank you for the question. It's a timely and important question, and just want to say congratulations on your new gig, and excited to have someone like yourself who's so focused on China in this body. I would just say, as a general matter, there is no more sophisticated actor on the planet than the CCP as far as it goes to overt and covert collection of U.S. technology, right? And it is well known pattern and practice that they use a variety of intermediaries and third-party carve-outs in third countries to get their hands on U.S. technology that would be otherwise denied. Well, I can't speak specifically to this incident that you referenced in news report about Malaysia and the chips. I'll just say this is going to be a continuous battle every single day at BIS, and we're going to have to keep our eye on the prize on this because, again, China's an incredibly sophisticated actor. So we're going to be adjudicating that threat every single day.
Can you lay out a plan of what BIS can do to prevent that from happening again?
Yeah, I mean, a good example of one thing that would be really easy to accomplish relatively quickly is right now our export control laws, our restrictions don't match don't cover subsidiaries of companies, right? So if you put an entity on the entity list and it's got a subsidiary, the restriction you put on the entity list company doesn't apply to its own subsidiary, right? We've solved this in sanctions going back decades. We have it's called a 50+1 rule, where if you're a subsidiary of a sanctioned entities, you get whacked too. We don't have that for export controls. So all you have to do is say, oh, that's my Malaysian entity. You didn't put it on the entity list, so I'm allowed to import it. It's a simple fix you could do relatively quickly. These are the kind of things we're going to be talking about and moving very quickly at to solve the problem that you brought up.
I want to work with you on that. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that very much. Mr. Hughes, in 2016, the Obama administration declared that it is unlawful discrimination for realtors and landlords to discuss a neighborhood's crime rate with prospective renters or buyers. It seems ridiculous to me that we would try to hide that from someone who's trying to buy a home or rent an apartment. What do you and Secretary Turner plan to do with that ruling?
Senator, what was the rule?
The ruling determined that it's, quote, unlawful discrimination to discuss a neighborhood's crime rate.
Okay. Well, I can tell you that Secretary Turner and myself, now in my current capacity and if confirmed, are going to do everything we can to champion fair housing laws and enforce it through everything we can do at HUD and working with the Department of Justice. Sir.
In Secretary Turner's confirmation hearing, he agreed that that's outrageous.
Absolutely.
I assume that your reaction, you might not
Yes,
know
sir.
the ins and outs of the ruling, but you would agree that that's ridiculous. We should change it. I want to work with you.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Very good. Mr. Hurley, the People's Republic of China has built too many companies using stolen American technology. Communist China exploits America's cutting-edge research to acquire critical technologies that make China stronger and the United States weaker. Bad actors continually find ways to evade sanctions and launder funds. How do you plan to tighten enforcement to prevent sanctions evasion and impose stricter sanctions on companies with connections to China's military?
Well, thank you very much, sir, and I enjoyed our conversation about this topic this past week. Share Landon's sense of urgency on the threat that we're facing in terms of particularly a broad range of nefarious activities, but right at the core of it is sort of the crown jewels of our technology. And so in the same way he was describing, doing a better job on the export controls, one of the first priorities for me at TFI is to understand better how we can tighten the focus with precision munitions to get exactly at the sources of those the CPC entities that are involved in these activities.
Very good. One final question, Mr. Wohl. The federal government has been relying on religious organizations for years to deliver services through grants. But under the far left rules at HUD in the last administration, a faith-based soup kitchen or a homeless shelter would jeopardize their grant funding just simply by offering a prayer before a meal. Will you remove those barriers and work to protect faith-based organizations who do good things, and what can you do to roll back those rulings from the last administration?
Well, thank you, Senator. The Secretary has been very clear that he wants to make things easier for faith-based groups to do the outstanding work that they're doing. They are being cut out in certain instances because of certain conditions that are put into grant awards. We want to take a very hard look at all of that and see how we can make it. My understanding now is some of the faith-based groups won't even submit an application because they know they're not gonna be awarded the funds, and we need to change that messaging. We need to include them. They do outstanding work, and we want to encourage them to continue to do so.
I want to work with you on that as well. Thank you to all of you. I yield back.
Thank you.